people of God, you know what I want to tell you? Like, sometimes, this is these are the reasons why sometimes folk who appear to have more than you, in this life, can sometimes try to break your spirit, or try to take subliminal jabs at you, or try to secretly compete against you. And it may make you think sometimes as if you're going crazy. Like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? Like, is this really true? Like, if somebody complimented me in this area, or so you can see somebody might give you some advice and say, "Oh, you should do this. You would, you could do this if you would be great if you do this." And somebody who is secretly watching you, you might see them a few minutes later, or an hour later, or just within that night or the next morning say, "I'm doing this," or "I did this in 24 hours." They probably was listening that, or watching, or paying attention to what somebody else was telling you, and you seeing them do it. But by the time you catch something the first time, you might say, "It's just me. I'm just overthinking." Especially if you don't think like that. If you're not that type of person, you'll just go about your business. And then you might see the same individual sometimes like mimicking you in some areas, right? Or mimicking some things that you have done. And that may throw you for a loop or whatever. And then if you catch on, and let's say you confront this individual and say, "Hey, I noticed you do this," and they might say, "What you got that somebody got to mimic, or who are you that somebody got to copy?" Like, they'll try to shoot you down with the insult if you come to them in sincerity, or if you do something to let them know that, "Hey, I'm on to you. I see what you're doing," but you don't really make direct contact with them, or you let them know. Then you might see them trying to pick you apart, or you might notice that they observe you and they pick out something about you, or they try to attack a certain area about you, and just to try to get a rise out of you, to try to make you angry, or see if they can get you, charged up or something like that. And if you sit and ponder and analyze, if you really analyze these things, if you have evidence and you analyze these things, initially when you're trying to put the pieces together, when you're first catching on, you might think there's something wrong with you. Like, am I going crazy? Like, this is, something ain't right. But in your spirit, you're already confirming it and discerning it, and that you're seeing it play out. And then sometimes when you are a person who, you have a good heart, you have good intentions, you ain't perfect. None of us, ain't nobody in this world is perfect, right? But when you have good intentions, you don't think like that. You don't think crafty like that. You don't have a problem, telling somebody, "Hey, I see you. I like how you doing that right there. Listen, I'm gonna pick up this from you," or you know what I'm saying, or "I get this from you," or you know what I'm saying. But some people not like that. Some people walk in a level of pride to the point where they think that they're better than everybody. And then when you see these people trying to come at you in certain ways, and you might say, "How can somebody who got more than me, they are doing these little things?" It's not that they have more than you. Listen, money and material things, they don't make people happy. Look at some of the people who may fit this category, and who have made themselves an enemy to you, or have secretly tried to compete, or maybe some fake friends that you've had, and they seem like, they have more success than you. But then you notice over the course of that friendship, they kept doing things or saying things to try to break your spirit. Or maybe if you talk about an idea, they tried to rush and hurry up and beat you the idea. If you say, "I might get me another car, I might get this. Oh, I was going to get that. I already was thinking about getting that. I already called somebody." It's like they always try to beat you to it. Or sometimes you can be talking about something that you're dealing with, and they try to make themselves as if they're just as busy as you. And they really cannot have much going on in their life. But you don't treat them like they're beneath you, but they treat you like they have more going on than you. But you can look at their physical situation and circumstance sometimes, and they really don't. That's another thing. Sometimes two people can come from that angle, where your achievements and your level of growth, the things that you are achieving, and it could not be a lot. You could be a person that keep yourself humble. You don't brag about the little things that you're doing. You just go through life like it's nothing. You don't even, talk about what's going on in your personal life or business or whatever. But it could be people that see that as a threat, or sometimes they see that they're intimidated. Listen, when it comes to those who make these little marks at you, or try to secretly compete against you, or secretly draw you into competition, or try to ruin your character or make you look like a bad person and hide their hand because they know what they've been doing. And sometimes you can have people who become envious of you, but because they don't want to take accountability, they'll try to make you look like the problem because they're more, how can I say it, they can articulate, right? They can articulate themselves a bit in a different way to make it seem like, it's you who've been envious of them, but really it's the opposite way around. That's what a narcissist do. They try to steal and covet people's light and personality. But here's the reason, the number one reason why many people do that, even though it appears that they have more than you. The things of the world don't satisfy our soul. Our Father gives them to us because He knows that He gives it to us. He gives us what we need, but He knows that our hearts are not wrapped up in these things. Some people, they value themselves based on how much money they make, what kind of house they live in, what kind of car they drive. They value themselves based on these things. And so you can be a type of person where you may have, nice things as well, but those things don't go to your head. You don't brag about those things. You don't show those things. In fact, you can have a high dollar car or something like that, but you probably, you might drive around in something that's old and beat up, and you know what I'm saying? You probably don't even drive around in your nicest vehicle, whatever. You just keep yourself very humble. And sometimes when it comes to, but you always maintaining joy. And see, sometimes when it comes to that, you have the fruits of the Spirit. Like when you see people who have more than you, they are, and they're doing these things, understand this is what's going on in their mind. Sometimes they're thinking, when they see you and you always got a smile on your face, whether it's raining or shining, whether you're going through opposition or not, and whether something pissed you off, you could have been mad 2 seconds ago, but all of a sudden now you don't shake that off, and now you back to your normal self, operating in your joy and stuff like that, right? Like nothing really keeps you down. You might get angry, you might, you know what I'm saying? We all are human, we feel human emotions, but you don't stay in those miserable feelings. You always seem to, your center place always comes back to a place of joy, and you always comes back to a place of peace, right? And you're the type of person who you can be reasoned with. But a lot of times you'll see that people, when they deliberately want to misunderstand you, they don't want to reason with you, right? Because they don't like you. And so what it is sometimes is this: they're sitting back watching you, and it's like they're saying sometimes people say to themselves, why are they so happy? Like I remember I had these people say this to me one time. Some people said this: why is she always coming in here with such a smile on her face? What is there to be smiling about all the time? I heard it, but you know what I did? I ain't even entertain it. I ain't see. Sometimes people can pull you down to their level if you let it sink in here. Sometimes you like let things go through one ear, and like the old folks used to say, out the other. If I would have let it sink in here, I would have pulled down to their level, and I would have said, why you worrying about me for? That's what they wanted, because they can snatch. You come in happy, now they done said that. Why you worried about me? Why don't worry about yourself? Well, they would have had something to say back, because now you engaging them, and all that's doing is pulling that joy you was in up here, is pulling it down, and they was already down and miserable, so now they coming up a little bit. And sometimes people sit back and they watch you and they say, why she got so much joy? Why does she seem happier than me? And so what they'll try to do is, or why do people seem to gravitate to her or him? Why do people like them? Why are people, complimenting them in the area? They should be complimenting me. They should be looking at what I got going on. Sometimes they'll try to take attention off of you, or do things to provoke you to anger and make you act out in a way that causes people to look at you as a madman or a mad woman or something like that. But behind the scenes, they're trying to pull your strings, right? And they don't have the joy and the fruits of the Spirit. And so sometimes that's what they're comparing. So what they'll do next is, you'll see sometimes where people may try to invite you to their group gathering, or invite you to a party, or invite you to something. And initially you might think, oh wow, how thoughtful, they thought about me. Pray before you give your presence and your attention over to anything that you are invited to, right? Pray about how the person who invited you, pray about how they have been treating you. Do you have a close relationship with them? Do you know that this person is really solid and their heart is really with you before you go and attend their party or attend their event? Or has this person been showing you some little shade areas, and God allows some things to be revealed to you, and now they're inviting you to something? Because oftentimes they'll have their their little core groups set up to target you when you get to those events, when you get to those parties and stuff like that, or when you get to those cookouts or whatever. Sometimes when you go and give yourself over, you'll see people start asking you a lot of questions. Oh, what you do? Where you work at? What type of job you do? Oh, okay, where's that at? Where you live at? Oh, okay, where's your house at? Like really personal questions. How long you been doing that? Or where you grew up at? What area? They just want to know your background, how you make your money and stuff like that. Little personal things. And you might say these are kind of questions that are, we don't even know each other like that, but you want to know what I'm doing for a living. We haven't built a solid friendship. Of course you know of me, but I don't know that you got love in your heart for me. And who are these people asking me these questions? Or they may be the very ones that have a group, that sit around and say, they'll have these questions and there's other people taking notes or whatever. What they want to do is, now they see you always operating in joy. You seem like you're more happy and you're content and you're at peace in life, just being your normal self, and you don't have to go out here and do things to make yourself more of the world to impress people, because you really don't care what people think of you, long as you know that you're not deliberately trying to hurt nobody, you're not doing anything to bring no hurt, no pain to nobody, and you just, you're living according, as long as you know the Father is pleased with you, you don't care what they think of you, right? And so when they see your level of confidence and they done size you up, or they try to figure out what kind of house you live in, because what they're trying to do is make themselves feel better with having what they have, because they don't feel like you feel. So they're trying to see what's your secret sauce. Why you always so happy? What is it that's going on? What you hiding in your life that they don't know about? Is you know something that they don't know about? You know what I'm saying? And they compare their house with yours. Oh, I live in a bigger house than her. I live in a bigger house than her. Then they might try to say certain things. Oh, people need to upgrade. God wants us living in the biggest and the best. But see, that's where they mindset at. Your mind ain't on none of that. If you content where you already at, your stuff is paid for, and you got simple. Your bills is simple, but you living on less than what you need. Your mind ain't where they mind at. You see what I'm saying? But they're trying to say things to make you feel like, you need to know that you're beneath me. I got a bigger house than you. They might even bring up how much money they make. And they might try to make you feel bad, or if they find out that you make less than them or something like that. Whatever they can find out that they're doing more better than you in, then they'll try to start bringing up those things. But when they see they can't get you to, feel down about nothing you have or nothing you don't have, and you still joyful, you still got peace in your spirit, you still moving and operating the same way, showing love, you still ain't turning bitter, you still not going to secretly engage them and continuously give your ear or pay attention or give yourself over to anything they invite you to, or participate in anything they got going on. Why? Because you've seen their true heart. They're not truly happy with those things that they have, but that's what they thought would bring them happiness, and it only brought them temporary fulfillment, right? True happiness is in the fruits of the spirit. True satisfaction of the soul is in the fruits of the spirit. It's not from the external and material things. So think it not strange, once again, when people who appear that they have more than you, if they don't have the fruits of the spirit and they got all these accomplishments, worldly accomplishments, like, if you were to come to my house and you see my wall, I don't even talk about some of the certification I got. Some of the certification I've got, I forgot how to do, because when you don't use something, you lose it. But if you were to see my wall, I am very accomplished, right? But I don't talk about those things. I've always, whatever come to my heart, my mind, my spirit, I put my mind to, I want to go do something, I do it, I've gotten certifications in a lot of different areas, but that my mind ain't in no expensive piece of paper. I had a girl laughing at me the other night. Yesterday I treated myself. I went to work for a few hours yesterday morning, and I just took my whole day off, and I just treated myself to the spa, massage, and just pampered my whole self and just relax and just thank God. Every place I went, I was just thanking God so much. I said, thank you, Father, for letting me experience this. Thank you, Father, for allowing me to get such a great massage. Thank you, Father, for allowing me to come to this. Every place that I treated myself to, I prayed and I thank God for each and every place, because if He didn't allow it, I couldn't have gone and had the resources. He gives me everything. Like my elder said, we just a steward over everything. But like I was saying, where did my train of thought go? Sometimes the I lost what I was saying prior to saying all of that. But like I said, like if you were to come to my house, you see my wall. I have a lot of accomplishments, but they don't make me. And I had the young lady that works at the Icebox when I went there yesterday. She just got her bachelor's degree. She's just completed, but she still don't know what she wants to do. I don't advise people to go to college just to get a degree because you don't know what you want to do. Because, like I told her, I said, listen, I said if I could turn back the hands of time, I've never really used my degree. I said I would have I said, when I look at the wall, it's just an expensive piece of paper that got cum laude stuck on it. I said, if I would have known what I know now, if I could have turned back the hands of time, I would have never went to college, which I don't, regret. I'm thankful I got a degree. I applaud myself for accomplishing something on one side of my family, like on my grandfather's side of the family. Just about everybody is accomplished, successful, lawyers, doctors, teachers, just about any career you can name. On my grandmother's side, which is the side that I majority grew up with most of my life, because I didn't know about my grandfather's side until I was in my teens. My mother never met her father. He was dead before she was alive, but she kept searching. She kept searching, and she finally found one person and connected us with some aunts and uncles and stuff like that, and everybody's kind of spread out. Those are my aunts and uncles. In the video I did, what I said, let me introduce you to some of the phenomenal elders in my family. So once my uncle came from Baltimore, once he was home, I contacted him and he found us. He came and took us up under his wings and picked me and my mom up, took us out to the big city for the first time. That was our first time ever leaving South Carolina. My uncle, once he found us, everybody always stayed in contact, right? But on my grandmother's side, I am the first to ever graduate college with a 4-year degree. I'm the first to ever do that. I'm the first to accomplish a lot of things. I set the bar high, and sometimes, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought again because I'm just seeing this guy. I lost my train of thought. But anyway, people of God, none of that stuff matters. Like, none of that stuff makes me happy. The thing that makes me happy is having peace. You can have all the money in the world and not have peace. The thing that makes me happy is having my health and strength. And that's what I try to invest more time in now while I'm younger. I try to spend time in a lot of self-care and keep myself healthy as I'm aging and aging. I want to age gracefully like my elders, You leaving, girl? You getting out of here? All right, all right. But I want to age gracefully, and so I spend time doing that. The fruits of the Spirit, with having all the money in the world, those things don't satisfy the soul. When Judas betrayed Jesus, if money satisfied the soul, he betrayed Jesus because he was so greedy. He wanted that money. When he got that money, after he did that wicked deed, that torment came upon him. That money was not satisfying to his soul. Let me get up a little bit. I'm getting hot. That money was not satisfying to his soul. So what did he then try to do? He tried to go and give it back, and they laughed at him, right? He had already sold his soul for that little piece of change, and that didn't make him satisfied. What makes me satisfied is having the fruits of the Spirit, coming in contact with good brothers and sisters who are filled with the Spirit of my Father, who can say a word of encouragement, who truly got love in their heart. Like my brother today, when I was leaving work, he said, blessings to you, sisters, blessings to you. I said, blessings back to you, brother. Sometimes he'll hug me, I'll hug him, and we'll keep going about work. Brothers and sisters who are truly pure in heart. It's almost like we are scarce, but we're out there. When you connect with genuine people who have genuine motives, they might be going through their struggles in their life. Everything might not be peaches and cream in their life at the time, but because they're not happy, they're not going to try to break somebody else's happiness. You have some people who will set themselves up to oppose you, and you don't even know them. There was a brother who I used to follow a few years ago, not years ago, but just a few years ago. When I first started posting on YouTube, I thought this brother was really, into God like that, but he was masking it. And he used to always say things to reveal that he was prying into my life. I remember one time he was making a video and I was watching it because I thought he was sincere. Like I said, I thought he was sincere. And if I think you're sincere, the greatest thing I know how to do is just to show my support and sometimes maybe, sow a seed into what you got going on. Just to show that, hey, I see you. Or sometimes I'll, say what I got to say to comment or, just make myself known. I don't withdraw praise or, I don't withdraw, how can I say it? I don't withdraw my admiration or praise or anything like that because it takes nothing from me to dap up another brother or sister, to encourage them or let them know, hey, I see you. I don't know you like that, but I see what you're doing. Or to send them something, just to show, in my way, I'm sending you something to show I see what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. But this brother, he has done so many secret things to show me that his hand is in darkness, and he was pretending to be one of God. And I kept praying for this brother, and I'm like, why is he doing this? Like, I remember when I first started posting videos on YouTube, I used to, like I said, I used to follow him and listen to him sometimes because he talked about things he went through and his family. I felt sorry for him, but as time, because time reveals everything, I see that his heart was really dark. And then he would say stuff in his videos, like he would say stuff about me, like she used to be a police officer. And I'm wondering, like, okay, maybe he's talking about somebody else, Or then he'll say the other stuff, but it's stuff that'll make you think, am I going crazy? Or are these people really operating with familiar spirits? Then it got to the point where I even saw him, he had it written out in one of his messages where he'll help people who are going through witchcraft attack. He'll help you through divination. And I was like, oh my God. And from that point on, I stopped following him and I started sharing the word of God, of what God says about these things. You can't willingly engage in these things and then pretend like you're operating from the Spirit of the Lord, like God is speaking to you. And so he did so many things, and I said to myself, don't know him, never met him, believed in him at first. I was deceived. But you'll have people like that who will sit and do things to try to mess with your mental because they've been giving themselves over to these dark and these familiar spirits. And so when they see you operating from a pure place, they know that the favor of the Father is with you. They know that God has you protected. And the only way they can get to you if they can try to get into your mind and try to run you insane out of your mind. And so when you see these people operating for these familiar spirits, when they're doing all this competitive stuff, when they keep trying to break your spirit, that's not the Spirit of God. That's the spirit of error. Those are demonic, familiar spirits that they're operating in. And don't get too excited when people can tell you stuff about yourself, because just like that girl that was giving out those prophecies, they weren't false prophecies, they were real. She was speaking truth through a spirit of divination, and she was making her handlers a lot of money. And she kept following Paul and Silas. She kept following Paul those and announcing what they were doing, and Paul began to rebuke her. You see what I'm saying? He called that spirit out of her. And when he called that spirit out of her, her handlers got mad because he bind up that familiar spirit, that spirit of divination. And so her handlers tried to, they wanted to destroy Paul. You see, people can be so caught up in their witchcraft, their craftiness, they will lie on God, they will say the name of God. They're talking about a God, but it ain't the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You understand? And so people can attack you for your purity because they know that you're taking a different route than they're taking, and they gnash their teeth at you. They become envious of you. So you have to fight to keep a pure heart, because sometimes what they want to do is they want to provoke you to be nasty like them. They want to provoke you to anger. They want to do things to get under your skin. Then if you ever clap back, then they'll try to say, oh, she always got something, full of drama to say. And see, for people who don't have eyes to see, or who are not spiritual, who are not going through the same things, they don't understand. So it's easy to persuade the minds of the masses. You see what I'm saying? And they'll have the masses looking at you like you are the problem, when really you were the one who they made it their business to target. You were the one who they never wanted to see elevate. You were the one whose progress they were continuously behind the scenes fighting against, because they don't like you, because you have something they don't have, right? And so I just thought I'd share that. That's what was on my spirit to share. Understand, people can attack you for many of these different things. You have the fruits of the spirit, and they don't, and they want to compare themselves to you. You're operating from a pure place, from the spirit of truth, not perfect. You will still make mistakes, but what you'll know is they'll sit and watch and wait for your mistake, and they'll be ready to blast that, and you'll be like, "Dad, where you came from? When was you watching me? When did you ain't never said nothing to me before? Your first time ever saying something to me is gonna point out one of my mistakes. What about all the times I never made a mistake? Where were you then?" They were sitting watching, waiting for you to make a mistake so that they could come out of the woodworks because they don't like you. This is very, very real. And so it's best to keep your heart guarded and just keep moving away from disingenuous energy. You don't have to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You don't have to try to do things to make people dim your light, to make people feel comfortable who don't like you anyway. You know, people hate. Jesus was hated without a cause. Oh well, you know. And so that's all I wanted to share. Be encouraged. But those are some of the reasons that people will hate on you. It don't even have to be about the material thing. It could be that light of Christ that shines within you, that pure place that you're operating from. Then sometimes you'll hear people say, "Oh, you think you're just so perfect." No, I ain't never said that, because I know I'm not perfect. I'm a flawed human being. But they're saying that because you're operating from a pure place, and they know that there's corruption within their heart that they're hiding and they're masking. None of us is perfect. You see? But people will sometimes say those things. So anyway, that's just my little 2 cents. Have a blessed day. Don't let it break your spirit. Just continue to guard your heart. Don't be quick to let the guards around your heart down. Keep studying the word of God and keep on moving. There's good people out there. What I said, God is unifying his people. And many of us, we can see, we resonate with each other. See what I'm saying? We resonate with each other. You ain't alone. We may be spread out, but you ain't alone, right? It's a lot of fake out here. Real is very, very scarce, you know. So anyway, have a blessed day. I'm about to get in the pool and get me a little swim in, and I'll get back in my steam room a little bit. Y'all have a blessed night. God bless you, and I love you.